You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome in to RBLR Rays here at RBLR Sports. My name is Eureka, and I'm going to go through the week that was for our Tampa Bay Rays. Doing it a little solo. Our boy Ben is enjoying some fun in the sun on his little vacay. So it's just going to be me and you, the listener here. We appreciate you, of course, tuning in. While you're here, wherever you're listening to this, if you've got a second, hit that little subscribe button, hit that little follow button on whatever platform you're using. It helps out a lot. The Rays could have used a lot of help this week. The roller coaster season continues for our Flappy Boys because the losing streak returned. Last week, Ben and I had talked about the Rays winning in a multitude of ways. Well, this week we found a few ways to lose. I'm excited to hear if Ben has some different thoughts than I do about this. But the way, unfortunately, I was kind of pessimistic this week. We had really bad hitting in a few games. We had defensive errors killing us in another game. We gave up homers early in these games. And we even had one game where the bullpen pretty much disintegrated. We also ran into some superstar buzzsaws at the wrong time this week. So let's start though. Let's start with the happiness. Okay, let's start with the good. Since the last time that we had spoke, the Rays. They played a few games against the Angels and the Blue Jays and the Nationals is what we had this week. So let's start with the good, though. Let's start with the one shining example that we have, and that was the 13-3 win versus the Angels. And so this was the winning streak had now been extended to 4 games. Everything's awesome, man. And in this game, this game was the cherry on top. I kind of want to go back and watch this game just so I can feel happy and warm inside. So the Rays score in 5 out of the 8 innings that they batted. I mean, here we go. Wander Franco, he didn't get a hit, but he got an RBI. Randy Rosarena, 3 for 4. G-Man Choi, 4 for 5 with 2 ribbies. Manuel Margot had a ribby. Wendell had a RBI. Brett Phillips, 2 for 4. Mike Zunino, 1 for 3. I mean, woo! Everybody's got runs batted in, baby. And even on the mound, Shane McClanahan getting the dub, man. The Angels only had 5 hits total. McClanahan himself went 6 innings, 4 hits. He gave up 3 earned runs, but at this point, the Rays had just been scoring runs. He walked a couple guys, and he had 7 strikeouts. Shane McClanahan, as he still is getting his footing and things like that. Hey, man, you know what? He did his job for 6, and then Rasmus Sinton had come in, finished the job, and it's a 13-3 double-digit victory for the good guys, and we all clap our hands and pat our backs and felt really good, man. It was an amazing day at the ballpark. Well, the very next day, another guy had a very nice day at the ballpark, and that would be the superstar, the Shohei Ohtani. He's pretty good at baseball. Fortunately, the Rays did not have to face him on the mound because I don't think he could have done anything wrong this day. It's a 6-4 loss to the Angels, but Shohei Ohtani himself, he walks, he gets a stolen base, he hits a double, he hits a triple, and he hits a home run. I mean, the only thing he didn't do was get a single and pitch 8 strong innings for them. I mean, it's incredible and it's insane. We said this last week and in the group chat, it's kind of like every time Shohei Ohtani gets on my TV screen, my eyes just turn into heart emojis, and this guy is just you cannot overstate how awesome he's playing baseball right now. But the one shining moment that the Rays had was G-Man Choi, man. G-Man Choi continues to rock. The Rays actually take the lead with his 3-run home run late in the game in the 6th inning, but Shohei and the Halos put it away in the 8th and 9th, and that is a wrap on that one. That was the end of the Angels series. Then they went to the Washington Nationals. The first game was a 4-3 loss. Here's another guy that's on a tear right now, and that's Kyle Schwarber. Just continues his hot streak. At this point, as they won this game 4-3, Schwarber hits another home run, and it extends it out. At that point, it was 16 home runs out of 18 games, a historic record. That's at least tying. I think Sammy Sosa had that record back in the day. But I mean, now we're getting into some crazy territory hitting wise that we haven't seen since the days of Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa in those kind of. I don't want to get into the juicing and steroids, but everyone was hitting the long ball, and here's Kyle Schwarber doing it right here in 2021. Unfortunately, he did his damage in the first inning right off the bat. Rich Hill in the bottom of the first gives up Schwarber's home run, and Rich Hill went 6 innings, but he gave up 3 home runs, and the Rays just couldn't make up for that deficit. I mean, the Rays at the plate, we had 0 hitters that had more than 1 hit. I mean, by the time they got around to doing anything at the plate, it was just kind of too late. Brandon Lau had a home run in the 5th inning, but that made the score 4-1. And Mike Zunino had a home run in the 9th that pulled the Rays within 1. So that's crazy. They're still down 4-3, but they just couldn't do the job. So the very next day, they also lost a crazy, almost a football score of 15-6 as they lose against Washington. And on one hand, you kind of look, it's like, hey, the Rays had 6 runs on 10 hits. We had Rosarena had multiple ribbies. We got Mike Zunino continuing to his kind of getting at least a couple runs across the board. And hey, Wander Franco, he's been going kind of 0 for 4. He's been going bad at the plate, man. 2 for 5, hit a little RBI, man. And it still wasn't enough because Trey Turner and the boys decided to come to the ballpark as well. I mean, let's just talk about Trey Turner first. 4 for 4. He hits for the cycle on his birthday. And the bullpen just kind of, I kind of said they imploded. I mean, it's just they just did not have a good day on a day that was an opener day, right? These quote unquote openers. Rasmussen, Ryan Sheriff, good to see him back. Michael Wacha, Pete Fairbanks, and company. These guys just did not have good days. Michael Wacha himself gave up 3 home runs, just continuing as much as we want, we need someone like Michael Wacha or Rich Hill or Archer or somebody to come back into this rotation at this point, especially after this. I mean, you finally get a game where the Rays are they're back on it. They're getting good hits. They're getting it going, and then it's just the bullpen on this day that failed us. So it's just last week it was finding ways to win. This week it was finding just different ways to not get it done, man. Then the very next day, they leave Washington and then they go to Buffalo for a set against the Blue Jays. And this, again, now the Bats decided not to show up in this one. I'm trying to stay optimistic here. It's just a bad stretch in this particular game. Wander Franco, 1 for 4. Brandon Lau, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Joey Wendell, 1 for 4. And Francisco Mejia had the most hits. He had 2 for 3, but everything I just said was the total of offense in this game. And unfortunately, Alek Manoah just had it going for the Buffalo Blue Jays. He goes 7 innings. He only gives up 3 hits, 1 walk, and strikes out 10 Rays. So just, again, running into a buzzsaw of a great performance. But then again, this team is that they swing. They swing at things outside the zone. They're trying to be aggressive on early pitches. All those things lead to kind of higher elevated strikeout in this feast or famine offense that we have. We sort of alluded to it last week. I've alluded to it earlier in the year. I even had a podcast called Feast or Famine for the Rays here, where it's just, if they come in contact with the ball, it's going to go 500 feet, and they're going to create some crazy stuff. But they're going to swing through a lot of pitches, and that's exactly what this one was. On the flip side, though, Luis Patino makes his return to the rotation, which, again, we need something. We need something until we wait for, with Glass now being out, and until we make a move and bring someone in, if that's what's in the cards, they need something. Luis Patino, unfortunately, gets the Rich Hill treatment, and he gives up a 2-run home run to Toronto's Springer in the first inning, and the bullpen just did not stop the bleeding. Springs comes in and gives up 2 home runs in 1 inning all by himself, and that leads to the 11-1 loss to the Buffalo Blue Jays, man. Then the very next day, they're playing again in Buffalo, and it's a 6-3 loss, but this one was different. This one was the Rays playing bad defense for the first time in a long time. Brandon Lau had a throwing error, and the game was actually tied late because of a Manuel Margot homer until, I guess this is in the middle of the game. Manny Margot hits a home run, ties the ball game, but then the Blue Jays opened it up in a terrible, no good, horrendous bottom of the 6th. 5 runs come across for the Blue Jays. And it starts with a really good gapper by Guerrero, and then they kind of move some people over. They load up the bases, and then Joey Wendell fields a ball at third, throws it home to Zunino, and Joey Wendell gets called with a throwing error, but if I'm the scorekeeper, it could be Zunino I don't think he had his eye on the ball. Like, he's got a guy sliding into home. The throw is off target, and as he's going to grab it, it goes off his glove. So whoever you want to call it, but the bases are loaded at that point, and that throwing error costs them another run. But then they clear the bases with a home run later on. It's just not very good. The Rays did have a 2-run 9th inning to make the score look a little more respectable, but it just, it was the shrug emoji at that point. It's just kind of like, not very good. So I guess, we'll get into it. This is going to be a short pod, but coming off of this week, really, it's something's got to change. There's just this mojo is just kind of like, it's there certain days, and then it just, but it's almost like you never know who's going to mess up for the Rays this week is kind of what the feeling was, is it going to be the starting rotation that gives up the homers early, or is it going to be the bullpen that comes in and falls apart in the end? And this is a good bullpen. Look, the thing is that it's not a bad team. The Rays are not a bad team. It's just inconsistency. We either get everything all at once, right? That Angels game, we got everything all at once. Everyone's hitting, everyone's scoring. The pitching is amazing, and then some days it's just nobody has it. We get no bats. We get bad pitching. We give up home runs. And unfortunately, we even had a game where we're kicking the ball around, man, and that's just not usual. Thankfully, we don't have a problem defensively with anybody, but it's just rolling the dice, and you're hoping for no whammies, right? Maybe that's the title. This is it's like press your luck. You're rolling the dice, you're moving around the board, and you're hoping that you get, okay, today we're going to hit home runs. Today we're going to hit, but then again, you hit those whammies. A guy hits for the cycle. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player that's ever lived, it seems right now, right? Kyle Schwarber is now on a historic tear we haven't seen since the late 90s, early 2000s, hitting home runs. It's just, a number of crazy situations that the Rays were in this week. So none of this I don't think is going to, hopefully, I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic here. None of the stuff that happened this week, I think, is repeatable or is going to continue to happen. I mean, some days bad things happen. Some days guys are going to come in and they're going to be awesome, and some days your defense might fall apart, and some days the pitching's just not going to have it. And we unfortunately ran into a spell where that was the case. And this Rays season too, I said in the beginning, this roller coaster season, when you take a look, it's like if the greens are reds and the reds are losses, it's a sea of green and a sea of red. You go up, you on a 10-game multiple win streak, follow that up with the multiple game losing streak, and it just they're the little things of consistency, these little key things. We talked about Brandon Lau last week. Being a little more consistent and being a little bit more patient at the plate, and his numbers will be better. We've talked about Wander Franco, who continues to not light up the stat sheet, but Cash is sticking with him. We just need him to figure it out and be a little consistent at the plate. We absolutely need starting pitching. Who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be the guy that's out there that's going to kind of rise to this challenge, man? I mean, there's an opening. I'll tell you that. Is it someone can step up here? Shane McClanahan's been getting a lot of opportunities to kind of level himself up, and we'll see if that happens. We'll see if the Rays maybe go out and get someone with the trade deadline looming. I do not believe there's going to be a huge name. Max Scherzer, I don't think, is walking through that door. I don't think the Rays are going to give up the farm to get someone super crazy like that. Or Ben had mentioned Germán Marquez of the Rays, who all he did was throw almost a no-hitter since we talked last, and that'd be amazing. I mean, if this guy can almost throw a no-no at Coors Field, I think he'd do all right at the Trop at sea level. So, but the Rays way, we all kind of know the Rays way isn't to go get the splashy, crazy, marquee name. Maybe they make a trade that we're looking at like, okay, I don't know who this dude is, but I'm sure Ben will have an amazing write-up about some statistic that he can find, because that's just the kind of guy he is. I love him. And but that's really the Rays way. Plus, maybe you're looking at calling up Shane Baz, or there's a few guys that they've got stashed away for a rainy day, for down the road, but maybe a couple of those guys are getting accelerated. And Luis Patino coming back, and we're finally seeing him again. That's a good shot in the arm. Hopefully, a lot of promise, a lot of hope in that arm. And just trying to talk myself into staying positive, even though you have a bad week like this, because it kind of seems like you get one or the other until we see more consistency. I mean, even if it's you lose every couple days, or you lose every third or fourth day, but you're winning the other 3 out of the 4, hey, that's what we're going to do. But we all know that baseball's a marathon. Baseball's a fickle god sometimes, and but it not compounding with the weather that we've had around here in Tampa. It's just been rainy as we prepare for a tropical storm that's on our horizon next week. So we'll see. It's been bad weather. It's been bad outcomes on the diamond. But keep your head up, Rays fans. Keep that head high. These boys, they are, if anything, they're resilient. And if anything has shown you, is that they can bounce back, and that this might just be yet another bad blip on the radar. But in the long term, we'll look back and say, oh yeah, that was a bad stretch, but they figured it out. So with all that thing said, the last thing I can say is thank you. Thank you for your time. You've stuck with us for these 20 minutes so far. Once again, if there's one thing that you can do to help us out, it's if you're on social media, if you're on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you follow us, man. We send out score updates. We've got Rays podcasts like the one you're listening to every week. We also have amazing content on the Tampa Bay Rowdies, also in St. Petersburg. They're having a phenomenal run after their Eastern Conference Championship. As we cover them, the Buccaneers are covered every single week. We just talked with a Rich Silva, who covers the Giants. We talked about the Giants and them playing this year. And we of course are in the midst, one win away as we record this from the Stanley Cup Championship repeat by your Tampa Bay Lightning. We cover all of that here at RBLR Sports. So wherever you're listening to this, if you're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Apple Pod, Google Podcasts, you name it, we're just a click away from hitting that subscribe button or that follow button so that you can get all of the podcast content that we put out about all of the Tampa Bay teams here. So for us here at RBLR Sports, again, my name is Eureka. Can't thank you enough for joining us here, and looking forward to a good week, man. I mean, next week the Rays, the Rays are ending the Blue Jays series tomorrow on Independence Day. Then they come back home for a series against the Indians, which should be pretty evenly contested. And then the Blue Jays come back, and we're going to get our revenge at the Trop to end the week. So let's my babies over here happy. We're excited. Let's have a good day. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day as you're listening to this. And above all, come on, keep your head high. Let's get up. Let's get excited. And above all, go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.